there, Julia here from Satori Yoga, and today I want to show you how to add a spicy twist to an already familiar movement of having the knees move side to side. So this particular pose is for those of you who find the old plain knee to side movement boring and inefficient and are looking for something more interesting to experiment with. You can use either a foam roller or something a little softer. I have here a smaller, softer bolster. If you have a bigger size bolster, you can also experiment with that. But foam roller generally provides good enough and high enough support that we need for this pose, and also a little bit of a massage to our low back. Here is how we're going to start. So I will demonstrate today with the foam roller, but feel free to experiment with what works for you. It might be that smaller bolster, it might be a slightly bigger bolster, it might be a rolled up cushion or a towel, or a full foam roller if you are going all out. Here we go. So we're going to take our foam roller across the mat, and I'm setting it somewhere in the middle of my mat, so I have enough room for my upper body and my lower body to be happy. I find the easiest way to get into the pose is to sit on that foam roller. From here, I'm taking my hands back behind me, and I'm going to roll that foam roller a little bit more up underneath my sacrum. From there, coming down onto my back. And this is where you want to really adjust. I'm going to lift my pelvis up and roll that foam roller so it sits exactly underneath my sacrum. So from here, first thing you might notice that your back is arching. And if that is your experience, hang out here for a minute. Place your hands over to your bottom ribs and see if you can invite your spine and your ribcage to settle down toward the earth so you don't feel so archy and pulley in your low back. At the same time, if you've spent a few minutes here in this position and your back is not settling, it might mean that the foam roller is simply too high for you, and this is where you may want to switch to something smaller like a bolster or maybe rolled up towel or a cushion. I usually prefer to hold on to the foam roller. This way I know that it's not go anywhere. And the way I do that is by putting heels of my hands on the top of the foam roller. I'm going to wrap my fingers down and around it. I will step my feet fairly wide here. So I'm going to the width of the mat. And then I'm going to start moving my legs side to side. So this movement is already familiar to you, but here is what we've added. There is a little bit of stretch for the back. There is also lengthening happening, stretching happening through the quads here, front of the thigh muscles. You can also feel a little bit of lengthening, stretching through the front of the hip area, so you're starting to get into your hip flexor group. And as you move here, you might be able to even hang out a little bit longer on each side. And this is where you're going to start feeling a longer pull from the thigh, front of the thigh, so from the quad into the groin, along the side of the belly, and all the way up to the rib cage. Experiment with how you position your feet here as well. You bring your feet a little closer together and take your knees side to side. What does that feel like? And generally just spend a little bit of time here, getting a sense of what this pose offers your body. Once you feel like you're done, and depending on your stretchiness and your comfort level, you might be here for a minute or 5. That's completely up to you. Once you feel like you're done here, the easiest way to get out of the pose is to walk your feet closer towards yourself so your shin bones are pretty much to a vertical. Lift your pelvis up, push that foam roller away, and bring your spine down. Once you've settled down onto the mat, give yourself a chance here to feel. What does that feel like in your low back, mid back, and how your legs feeling here? And once you're ready to make your way out of the pose, as usual, do so slowly. Roll yourself to your side first, and then push the floor away with your hands as you're sitting up. Experiment with the foam roller and variations of the foam roller to see what can work for you. And I'm looking forward to your comments. Let me know how that pose felt for you. See you soon.